Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our second YouTube live event. I'm Mr Calvert. I'm one of the assistant teachers at Ilkley Grammar School. This event is focusing on our support systems in school and how we use those to ensure positive mental health and welfare right throughout their time at Ilkley Grammar School. First of all, I suppose, I don't feel like I should make an apology to some extent, but please can I apologise for the inability for us to have a welcome day on the 13th of July as scheduled. I'm reassured that I know that you understand that the reasoning behind this. As I said on the letter that you received, the government initially gave us some real hope that we could run that. It was going to be tricky with regards to bubbles and so on, and keeping things, and so on. But we certainly felt that we would be able to manage that. But in consultation with the head teachers of the primary schools, and obviously with the government's decision not to release the lockdown as much as we would hoped by that time, then we really had no option but to not do a welcome day. And I know that'll be a huge disappointment, particularly for the young people. It's a great day for us to meet the young people in their primary school uniforms and get them to meet their tutor group. But the reality of it is the whole idea of the day is to bond the tutor group, and I wouldn't be able to put people from different schools together, which completely defeats the object of the day, basically. However, going forward, we didn't have a welcome day last year either due to lockdown situations, and the year 7 that we have with us at the minute, really have stepped up to the mark and haven't been disenfranchised in any way with regards to that. One thing I will need to do is I will need to write a letter to you explaining what tutor group your child is in. That will be done as soon as we get these things organised, and we'll get them out to you to make sure that you know which tutor group they're in. For this evening, as usual, rules and routines. This is unscripted as such, so please feel free to put any questions onto the chat bar. If it's a pertinent question about an individual person, please make sure you use the transition at ilkleygs.co.uk. I will do my best to adapt my presentation to any questions that are coming through. I will pause at times for you to push any questions through to me. Okay, and onwards. So I suppose really, health and welfare alongside teaching and learning is the most important thing a school can do, and you having confidence in our ability to look after your child for the time that they're with us. And that time obviously expands beyond the school gates really, and always has done for the last several years now. That we are very much family orientated, and I do see the young people that are joining us as part of the school community, but obviously also the parents as well. And we have a very, very skilled team of people that are able to help yourselves and the young people in all facets of life really. And I do want you to feel part of that community. Obviously the first part of that is the transition process, and that's why I'm speaking to you this evening really, is to reassure you as parents and also the young people that are listening to me this evening that you are coming to a very welcoming, open, tolerant and diverse place, and I want you to be very much part of that community. We see ourselves as a community school for the Valley and wider, but making sure that you feel part of that. And I suppose me speaking to you this evening helps to hopefully reduce those concerns that you may have, and as I've said, put questions into the chat bar there, and I will do my best to answer them. Mrs. Varley's in the background too, and be able to answer any questions that you may have. I do want to stress though, and I think if we look back on our own lives, and I'm speaking to the young people here, it's absolutely normal to feel a little bit nervous and anxious about coming to a new school. it's really, you know, a life event that we all have to pass through. And it is okay, you know, and that's our mandate here. It is okay to feel a little bit nervous about coming soon. But I also, when we come down to the primary schools, we also stress that the young people have kind of outgrown the primary school, and it's their turn, and they are ready to join us at Ilkley Grammar School in secondary school. And I appreciate they go from the oldest to the youngest, but the one thing I did want to say is, you know, they do get pretty big quite quickly with us, and they grow in mind, body and spirit as such, and their personality can change an awful lot in the time that they start with us in year 7 and leave us either in year 11 or in year 13. And I want, you know, the transition process, even though we're having to go remote now, I want you to feel that you can ask any questions you have, however simple they may seem to you. They are, you know, they are really, really important for us to be able to answer those. So please do ask them. I guarantee that one of us will have the answer to all of the questions that you can ask, because we have got a team that's done this transition process many, many times before. And as I said last time, the communications once we start school, your child will be in a tutor group, one of the 11 tutor groups, and that tutor will likely, unless they leave us or move to another job or get promoted, or then they will stay with that tutor group from year 7 all the way up to year 11. So they will be a constant, ideally, in your child's life. And the same with the head of year as well, Mrs. Walsh, who I believe is listening in too. That's a very good idea, Mrs. Stevenson. We'll have a look at that. It may be possible, it might not be possible. We'll have a look. Certainly what we have done is the tutors will produce a video that we will post to the children so they can meet what their tutor looks like online as well. So yes, I can look at the possibility of trying to do that and see what we can do. And the tutors certainly will produce a video welcome to the children and send that off to them to make sure you know what your tutor looks like, and obviously hear that welcome from them. We did that last year, and it was very, very successful. As I said, sorry, going back to Mrs. Walsh, the head of year, Mrs. Walsh, again, will remain constant in the entire time that the children are with us up to year 11. In fact, Mrs. Walsh has just let her current year 11 group loss, and the amount of flowers and cards and thank yous and virtual hugs that were going on the last day there kind of show how a big part of the children's life that the head of year and tutors are, and I think that's important that, you know, you feel that, and there is an opportunity for you as parents to meet the tutor as well. We have our first parents evening, again currently run remote, but in the normal circumstances run face to face, and that's another decision we'll have to make as the new year comes around. But there is a tutor parents evening where you can meet your child's tutor and see how they've settled in, and that's done in October. So that, you know, there's something to look forward to there, to meet the tutor and just see how they've settled in. There's no academic detail at that time because we've only had them with us for 4 or 5 weeks, but it's certainly important that you know what the tutor looks like. And as again I've said, the tutors are available for you to email into, and as Mrs. Walsh is as well. And the head of year is a non-teacher, so doesn't have a teaching load as such. Their entire job is running the year group, which is a big job for almost 320 children and all the families that around that too. So just to bolster that team, we have the student support and transition manager, who is Mrs. Varley, who is online here. I know a lot of you have emailed already, who is there and available to support year 7. She actually does stay static and helps me every year with transition. So you will get a new student support manager in year 8 and 9, who is Mr. Spivey. And then additionally, we have a member of the SEND department in the year 7 office as well. who is able to help and sort of guide the team really, and the young people, just in case of people who have any SEND need that we know about, but also any emerging concerns that happen as well. So we do bolster that year 7 team. So a fairly substantial team of people, and then obviously just in support of them is myself. I'm the assistant head for Key Stage 3, but obviously year 7 certainly initially is a big priority for us to get them settled in, and again why I'm doing this evening really. And one thing I did want to say as well is one of the other things that is really important in the year group of support really is we do under normal circumstances have what's called an iLeader program, and again under normal circumstances we allocate 2 or 3 of our 6th formers to each tutor group who can act as role models for them, and they plan lessons with they do paired reading with them, they deliver some of our PBT time on a Wednesday, and these are people that 6 years ago were in the same boat, and it's really lovely to see the year 7s working with our post-16 team, because there's a very difference in size and age, I suppose, but really it is something that the young people can look up to and aspire to as well. I mean, they're handpicked to make sure that they're people that will be excellent role models for the young people, and most of the children I speak to can remember who their iLeader was and remember them being quite cool or quite quirky or really helpful or whatever. So it is something that we've worked on quite a lot. And that iLeader program actually doesn't just sit with the 6th form. Actually, leadership right throughout the school is something that we try and give to children opportunities to do. And one of the teams of people that support the year group are the year group council. So every tutor group has 1 or 2 tutor group reps who report into the year group council, who report into the student leadership group, who report into the senior leadership group, which are ourselves. And actually student voice over the years has become a really important facet of all schools, and particularly ours. And they can help us guide how the school evolves, I suppose, in certain areas, because ultimately they are the customers, I suppose, as well, and I can't say at a school that the customer is always right. However, they certainly are important to us, and we want to make sure that we listen to them and they help us to guide the way that the school evolves. And we've just done recently a set of student voice questionnaire goes out to all year groups, and we do listen in to people as well. And one of the spin-offs of the iLeader group is we do have a number of focus groups in school, which the students join into. So again, under normal circumstances, these are vertical groups, but they've been having to be done remotely and in year group bubbles and so on, but we've managed to keep most of them going. And we do have, there's anti-bullying ambassadors, there's a United Nations group, there's a group that help us with the catering service as such. There are other there's iLeaders for sport, there are iLeaders for IT and computing and digital leaders, and so we try and give all of the children an opportunity to learn new skills and gain those leadership skills, which they start in year 7 on and slowly incrementally move their way up, and hopefully by the time they get into the 6th form they do give something back to the year 7s as such by being one of the iLeaders for the tutor groups, to making sure that certainly the 6th formers that will be the iLeaders this year, subject to us allowed to mix bubbles, will obviously have remembered their own iLeader because they've gone all the way through the school and developed their leadership profile. So I think that is an important facet to the school, that children have an opportunity to become the leaders of the future. Okay. And then on to things that I've just paused there slightly. Actually, is there anything there that you would like me? I've talked for 15 minutes there. So is there anything that you would like to know related to what I've just spoken about there? If not, if there is, just buzz things down. If not, I will move on. So please just use the chat bar. I can see it reasonably well. So just buzz things in for me as you want to. Going back to point I made earlier about children changing. I mean, if this is certainly a message for those of you that it's your oldest child that is coming to us, so haven't got a child at secondary school, and I think it can be a concerning time for parents, really, about what will change about their young person and so on. And I just want to reassure you that the one thing that we've got in abundance in school is people that are skilled at dealing with teenagers. We wouldn't do the job we do if we weren't skilled at dealing with teenagers. So please make sure you do lean on us with any queries that you have. And as I said, the children will change in their mind. And I think, you know, physiologically you can read if you want to about the dopamine spike, but effectively the children are changing from the young people that you've got sat by you at the minute, if they're there, and they will when they leave us in year 11, or certainly if they leave us in year 13, you know, they'll be ready and equipped to be young adults. In fact, you know, they are actually 18 when they do leave us in year 13 as well, and they change an awful lot in that time. And the dopamine spike is a physiological thing that we can all remember. It, you know, it's called in different, as you know, puberty and so on and so on, but ultimately it's a physiological transition from being a child to being an adult. And you know, that's something that we support the children within, and I want you to hear from me, really, that support in that time is really, you know, there in abundance for you. And then why the wider support team with regards to, because, you know, we are aware that, you know, and I think if you reflect on your own life, that, you know, that young people, because they're changing in mind, body and spirit, then actually they can sample different aspects of their self as they go through, you know, their time with us. And, you know, the boys particularly can start quite small but be huge trees. I was talking to two boys that were 6'5" the other day, and, you know, in year 10, and you know, they actually towered over me, and I'm 6'4". So you know, they do grow an awful lot on that, but there's also the issues that can arise with those changes as well, and I suppose they can be multifaceted. They can start in year 7, they can happen at any time, and that's where the safeguarding team comes in as well. And I'm what's called the designated safeguarding lead of the school, and I have a team of senior leaders that support me, of what are called named persons, and we work closely with the heads of year as well. And you know, I have a bit of a phrase in school which I've said to many parents over many times: please give us a call if there is a problem. You know, please do ring us, and you can speak to, you know, either through Mrs. Walsh or any of the named person, or directly to me, and you will get an unconditional support, which is without any judgment whatsoever. And it's very rare that we have to deal with something that we haven't dealt with before. So I want you to lean on us. I want you to ask questions. I want you to, you know, if there are things, please think about us as a first point of call. If we can't help, we will know where to get the help from. Okay, and that's how safeguarding works in school. That's how welfare works in school. That's how the pastoral systems work in school. Please do ask us, and just remember, it's absolutely unconditional and it's without any judgment whatsoever. So come and talk to us. And then to support that processes, we do have additional teams in school as well. I've spoke already about the SEND team. The SEND team is led by another assistant head teacher, Mr Keane, and is able deputy Senko, Mrs Malkinson, who I know has been down to support the transition process in some of the schools as well, so has been meeting the year 6 teacher and has attended some annual reviews and so on as well of certain children that have EHCPs. And then, as I said, we've got an SEND team and an SEND area, which is there for children that have already needs and known needs that we have, but also again in the change that we've been speaking about, things can crop up. And again, I want you to assure you that they have an open door as well. As I said, there is I said previously on some communication, if you send in an email to inclusivelearning@ilkleygs.co.uk, then that goes through to the SEND team, who are there and able to support with any SEND queries. Okay, and then another part of our team, which we've had for I think this is the 4th year coming up, or it will be the 4th year when Year 7 join us in September. We have what's called Place to Be, and Place to Be is a team of mental health specialists that work with us, and it is a counselling team. I'm a very good listener, but I'm not a counsellor. And what we do have is trained counsellors on site, and one of those trained counsellors is what's called our school project manager for Place to Be, who is Mrs. Dawson, Mrs. Lorraine Dawson, who is a trained mental health specialist. And there's a team of counsellors that, should things go that the children need some time to talk to people, then we can push them through that process, and they can get counselling at source in school, which obviously makes it incredibly efficient system. And we have a number of children that use that. And again, I've with regards to mental health, I really want to say that it's a priority one of the academy development plan, mental health and well-being. We have a mental health ambassador, Mr. Adams, who has been trained on all sorts of things and is in the process at the minute of disseminating up-to-date information to us, up-to-date training to us all, including old hands like myself, really, of the current thinking and the current training that we need to do to best support the children through any sort of mental health crises or anything of things. And I think that has been a huge facet of the school. We're seen as a real beacon of good practice with regards to mental health support. But it's certainly lockdown hasn't helped us in any way with that, and we can support young people through all manner of things, which can be life events, but also that we can also support the children if they're struggling in different areas for one reason or another. So please look out for the mental health team. If you do want to go onto their website, placetobe.org, then you can have a look at their website. And you're actually, interestingly, if you do look at their website, you will actually see that a number of their photographs on their publicity are actually Ilkley Grammar School students, because they came over to us and they took photographs of our children and our site and our Place to Be room, because the Place to Be room is set up as a counselling room. Nothing else goes on in that room at all apart from counselling, and it's set up to deliver all sorts of therapeutic counselling free to everybody in school. I mean, obviously, that there is occasionally a waiting list depending on how long things are taking, but there is also what's called Place to Talk, which is a drop-in service that children can access even if they don't go straight through to the Place to Be counselling. So again, if there are issues, please let us know and we can work through things like with that. Okay, and then the last little bit of information I've got with regards to this, it's a slightly shorter evening this evening, is just our work with local agencies and outside agencies as well. We do work with local youth groups. I don't know any of you that know Johnny Whitaker, who is the youth worker for Ilkley. He does a lot of work in the primary schools as well, and he's at the Ilkley Youth Centre. We also have previously, and again we've lost the thread slightly in lockdown, but we do have a good link with the Youth Centre and Youth Service in Burley, in Wharfdale as well. So we work in partnership with them and the other groups that we spoke about last time, the rugby club, the tennis club, Benridden Sports Club, different types of community groups across the area. And again, we try and send our students out to try and showcase the fabulous skills that we have in school, but also lean on their expertise as youth workers as well. We have good links with the churches and so on as well. We often speak with the town councils, and we have, if there are any issues with regards to youth issues or youth support, or where we can claw back any money that we can bid for with different youth groups. We're always in partnership with those youth groups to make sure that we, are part of the community and can work together to get better resource in school and outside as well. I'm just trying to think of the one thing that we do have a link as well with the police. We have what's called a Safer Schools police officer, and we share that officer full badge PC called PC Barker, who comes to meet us on a Tuesday morning, and again we utilise his skills as a police constable to guide and educate our young people. Just think when things go wrong, but also proactively as well. And again, we Andy Barker is a big part of our team. An important part of the team. We share that with some of the other locals. We share that resource with some of the other local schools. So we work there, and then the other teams that we work with are the ones you would expect a school to work with: CAMS, the local GPs, children's social care as needed, and so on. So it's a big support mechanism around the young people. There's so many of them, but it is a supportive place, and I want all the young people in school to feel that support, and I would certainly want the families to have security, to know that we're doing the very best for them, and are looking after the child. Yes, while they're with us, but also we've got their back outside school as well, because we, like you do, we want all the children to become those successful adults that they will become when they leave us, either in year 11 or in year 13. And Mark, I can see a thing there. The mental health support has been incredibly important change. I mean, I was integral really to bringing the Place to Be team in. I did a huge amount of research on it a number of years ago now to try and get the best possible option out there. And actually, when you do look at what the Place to Be team offer, I think you'll be suitably impressed. And it's important that you recognise that is there and available. It's a valuable resource. It's a heavily used resource, but it's certainly something that is, an integral part of Ilkley Grammar School now. And again, we're one of the few secondary schools in the north of England that have Place to Be support. We're often seen as that beacon school in the north of England for people to look at it. Yeah, and Mrs. Normanton, I can see that. The SEND team, again, a big part of the school community, because going back to what I said previously about personal best, in order for those children who may find learning or anything a challenge, really, it's important that we allow them to be everything that they can be and achieve their personal best when they leave us as well. And as I said in the teaching and learning section, the teachers are skilled at teaching year 7 in mixed ability initially, but then as we move our way through the school, what does become more apparent is the personalisation of the curriculum, the teaching as a child goes through the school. And if a child does have, the children will have, and if they have additional needs or things that the teachers need to know how it helps them, then on Class Charts, which I mentioned last time, the online platform, actually one thing that it does do is that allows the teachers, all of the teachers, to see what's called a My Passport, which is a learning passport, which is written partially by ourselves and the primary school initially, but input from the parent and the young person. about what things can help them. So it might be, I prefer to sit at the front, I prefer to sit at the back, I prefer to have things given to me on blue paper, green paper, I prefer to, all the different things that can happen in a school. And that's right there at source, so the teaching staff can adjust their teaching to meet the needs of everybody in the class. And again, we've had that system in place for a number of years now, and it will certainly, it's certainly an incredible part of our support mechanism of the children when they're in classes. Okay, I mean, I've talked for half an hour there, so I'm happy just to sit on for a few more minutes. If anyone's got any questions for me, there's a number of you online here. As I said, this will be recorded and posted onto the YouTube channel. As soon as I click end, it actually just goes straight onto there. So that's the good side of using this YouTube live. And again, I do hope you found this useful. It's time well spent. One thing I did forget to mention, I did put in the letter, but the parents information evening on the 13th of July will be remote as well. I mean, some of the things have been covered here, but it tends to be delivered by the head teacher and the deputy heads on that event there. And that'll just be the last bits of detail that I needed to make sure that you're ready to start in September. And obviously by then we may have more detail from the government about what September may look like. My next YouTube live session is the 22nd of July. I purposely left it after the 21st. I kind of feel a bit disappointed about that now, because I was hoping for some better news from Prime Minister, but 22nd of July on 6:15, and it will be for any other business, so very, very unscripted. So if there are things that you do want me to talk about, I'll try and just talk through uniform, iPads, one or two other things that I'll just need to mention. Probably by then we'll be in a better position about when the letters might come out about transition into the tutor groups and so on. And Mrs. Stevenson, I will have a look at the feasibility of having a Zooms or team meeting. It's just the problem with our teams is that it only works easily with people that have Ilkley Grammar School accounts, as you know from my faux pas with the YouTube live, the Zoom live event that we tried to do in April. It's not quite as simple as that, and also I just need to think a few other things through, but I certainly like the idea of it, but I'll need to look at the feasibility of that. Okay, any other questions, anybody? If not, I'm going to leave you to your evening. It's just before 7 o'clock here, so if anyone's got any other questions, I'll sit in here for a second or two, but nothing seems to be on. I can see people are starting to leave the event, so that's fine. And listen, I hope to see you. Just please do think the sincerity of the things I've said tonight, because it is really important that you feel cared for, and without judgment and unconditionally. So please do use us whenever you want to. Okay. Right. In the absence of any chat questions that are coming through, I'm going to end the event there. Okay, and thank you to you all, and I will see you on the 22nd of July at 6:15 for my last event. Okay, you're all very, very welcome. As long as it's helping you, that's all fine for me. Okay, and you're all very welcome. Okay, thank you and goodbye.